and now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You know, you never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy.
We're not going to sit back passively. We're not going to sit back and watch you light democracy on fire. We will fight fire with fire.
I would just say this. Donald Trump has some of the best political instincts of any politician I've seen. And on this particular issue...
And good morning. It is 8:07 on News Talk 1079. Welcome. It's Tuesday. And if you'd like to reach us on the Stones Automotive Group call and text line, that number's 208-542-1079. So the hot topic, the controversy has shifted from Texas redistricting, and Trump took his little laser pointer and he pointed it over to, we're going to clean up Washington, D.C., and the Democrat establishment and the entire media, like a herd of cats, followed his laser pointer over to that, and now they're all up in arms over that. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's masterful at this, and those people who had kind of this investment in Donald Trump and in this particular issue of Texas redistricting are probably frustrated that people have now moved on. Donald Trump's deploying 1,000 National Guard troops to the nation's capital, and this is the Fourth Reich for many people. They truly think that this is Adolf Hitler right before our very eyes as he brings in federal forces, which he has authorization for, not indefinitely. I mean, there's a limit to how long he can keep law enforcement federalized in Washington, D.C. But I think he's probably kind of tired of the nation's capital, the nation over which he presides, the capital being a cesspool of crime and filth and homelessness and trash, and he's going to get it cleaned up. He's going to get it cleaned up. So I don't know if my opinion, for those of you who are all in on the Trump is Hitler narrative, I'm not sure that my encouragement will convince you otherwise. But I will say Trump is not becoming Hitler. This is not fascism. And we are not watching the rise of the world's next dictator under Donald Trump. Okay, it ain't happening. You can calm the heck down. Now, do I think Donald Trump sees political value in making you think that might be what's at? Possibly. I think it's why he makes the jokes about invading Greenland. And it's to keep you looking like a moron. And he's doing a pretty good job of that, quite frankly. So we'll get to some of that. We've got some interesting audio from that. Part of the problem is more law enforcement. You do need that in Washington, D.C. But the other part of the problem is you actually need a prosecutor that will prosecute crimes and not try to find reasons to spring these thugs and criminals from prison and from jail. And Jeanine Pirro, that's going to be her role. We also have some closer to home issues that we're going to talk about today. There is a Nampa Republican, a state senator, says that he's introducing a proposed amendment to the Idaho Constitution that would prevent the state of Idaho from selling, got the hiccups this morning, from selling any future public lands granted or obtained from the federal government. So basically, this is maybe kind of limited, but Senator Ben Adams of Nampa said he'll introduce the proposed constitutional amendment at the beginning of the 2026 session of the Idaho legislature. That starts in January, and he hopes the amendment will go before voters a little over a year from now, November 2026. He said in a phone interview on Friday to Idaho Capital Sun, the idea of selling public land really didn't sit well with me. I have young kids. We like to hike, we like to fish, and our public lands here in Idaho have so many amazing places to do all of those things. Selling it off is just not an option in my mind. Access to public lands became a flashpoint after Senator Mike Lee of Utah introduced an unsuccessful proposal in Congress that would have allowed millions of acres of public land, including in Idaho, to be sold off to the highest bidder. So we have that, and the devil's always in the details. And basically, this is an issue that would simply tie the hands of the state of Idaho if it's passed. They could not sell off any future public lands granted or obtained from the federal government. Now, anytime you do something like this, using words like any or ever or never or whatever, there's always a scenario where you have unintended consequences down the road. So, like I said, in spirit, I largely agree with this. We love our public lands. It's part of our way of life here in Idaho. But I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see what comes out in the wash if he's successful in getting this through the legislature in 2026. And there's a lot of ground to cover with this particular effort. Okay, there's another issue that we need to talk about. And I don't know how I feel about this yet. As you know, I have been a pretty stalwart opponent of voter initiatives. I don't like them. I think that it's parallel governance. We already have a republic, a representative republic. You can even add the word a constitutional representative republic in Idaho. And some like 100 years ago, we added this idea of a voter initiative, which feels really good. Like, well, if the citizens are passionate enough, they can go out getting petitions and then they can pass their own law, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's great, except who's in charge? Like it creates too many bosses in Idaho. And for the longest time, I was fine with it because the feel-good thought of a voter initiative. There's lots of warm, fuzzy words that make us feel good. But our system is to elect representatives. In Idaho, there's 105 of them. 70 in the House and 35 in the Senate. And we hire them to do that, to create law. And I know many of you are saying, well, what happens when they're too compromised? Then you vote them out. That's what happens. Well, for a while, I was fine with it. As I got to, it's sort of been an evolution for me. But as the voter initiative progressed, I realized about 10 years ago, as they were ramping up to do the Medicaid expansion, that this mechanism was a sneaky backdoor for liberals to get socialist ideas through on soundbite campaigns. It's exactly what they did with Medicaid expansion. So over time, because apparently just a flat-out repeal of the voter initiative has just been politically too difficult because you're going to the voters saying, hey, we want to take this tool away from you. We want to not let you have a direct access to the levers of governance. That's a tough sell. It's perceived that you're taking power away from them. That's hard to do. And so what they've done is they've tried to change the threshold of what is required to get something on the ballot. And it is pretty high. Like, it's tough. It takes a lot of time, effort, money, resource to get a voter initiative on the ballot. I'm just going to be honest with you. We need to get rid of it. So, flash forward to the current news cycle. There is an effort underway now to get rid of the 6% sales tax on food, which I'm in favor of. I would be a vote in the legislature to repeal the sales tax in Idaho because those are the essentials of life. And there's kind of this libertarian argument. Why should people have to pay the government money just so they can eat? And I think that's a valid argument. And anytime I can make government more austere and to be more mindful of the dollars that they spend, then I'm usually in favor of that. Not every case, but in most cases. And in this one, I'd be a solid vote to repeal the grocery tax. Now, here's the problem. This presents a conundrum for me. I don't want to legitimize the voter initiative. I want to get rid of it. I want it gone. I don't like it for another reason, that voters can pass stuff and massive amounts of effort get it through. The legislature can go, yeah, we're not doing that. They can. Now, do they suffer politically because of it? Maybe. But if we go back 20-ish years, this is exactly what happened with term limits. Voter initiative, it passes, lawmakers are term limited, and their addiction to political power was too strong. And they said, I mean, you look at it, though. Look at it from their perspective. Like, I don't want to relinquish this government power, but I'm going to be losing it anyway if we don't repeal it. At least I have a chance to hold on to my seat if we repeal this. In other words, they don't give a crap what you think if it means the end of their political power. That was shown back in early 2000s when the state legislature basically did a double middle finger to the voters of Idaho and said, yeah, we're getting rid of your little term limits idea. It's gone. We're not doing it. And it was a big outrage for about 15 minutes. And then, of course, we being human settled back into our, okay, what movie am I going to watch on Friday night? And, there was never really any long-term ramifications for those lawmakers that did that. So that, again, underscores how clunky the voter initiative is. Now, I say this with some hesitation because in my mind, I'm saying this is a terrible way to implement a very good idea. And I don't know how I'm going to vote on it. I haven't even decided. This has been a story for a couple of days now, and I can see that there's good people working hard to get done what they perceive the legislature as not doing. Then you look at it and this is another moment that I'm probably going to irritate some of you, because I think many of you are like, wait, why are you against getting rid of grocery tax? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm against the way I don't even know if I'm against it yet, but I have hesitation about using this tool because you legitimize the tool. And this is how socialists like Luke Mayville and Todd Achilles try to get crap through and not tell you the whole truth and take massive amounts of out-of-state dark money to try to swindle Idaho. I don't like that mechanism. It's a magnet for dark money and corruption to come into the state. Now, I'm saying this hoping our sales manager and general manager aren't listening, because anytime you get a voter initiative on the ballot, it's massive ka-ching for us here and every other broadcast outlet. So, again, I'm talking me. This is sort of underscoring how genuine I'm going to be when I come to this microphone. Again, I'm not saying I'm not going to sign the petition, and I am going to vote against it. But I will say the broader issue of the grocery tax, they increased it up to, what was it, from 120 up to 150-ish. Okay, I may be a little off on the numbers, but it's right in that neighborhood per person in Idaho. So if you have 4 people, instead of $480, you're getting $600 back on your taxes. Now, it's rarely, if ever, going to be the exact amount that you paid in taxes. For some families, it's a little more. For some families, it's a little less. And when I look at this and I think, okay, do I think it's clunky that we pay sales tax, that money goes to Boise, and then Boise sends it back to me? Yeah, it's a bunch of unnecessary inefficiency. Basically what it is us loaning our money interest-free to the state for the better part of a year, I guess more than a year, if you wait until April to do your taxes. Some of that money is more than a year. So you're giving lawmakers an interest-free loan. I don't like that. Just don't take the money in the first place. Just let me keep it at the cash register. That will be easier for everybody. But no, they want that interest-free loan. They want your money sitting in the coffers for a year so they can collect interest on it, and then they'll give you the balance back, and then they keep the interest. I mean, it's a nice little game that they're playing here. But in terms of the amount of money, how it washes out for you and individual families, it's not a lot either way. Okay, it might be a few bucks more, it may be a few bucks less. It's not going to be a massive game changer in Idaho. So that's why I guess I get a little hesitant wanting to die on this hill. I think this is one of those issues where the actual difference is about an inch tall, and the amount of emotion we put in it in trying to win the battle is a mile high. And I try to keep my emotions fairly in line with the actual impact of what's happening. Now, as I said, I would hope my lawmakers would repeal the grocery tax. If I were in the legislature, I'd vote to repeal the grocery tax if it came up. But I would also be very measured about how much greater a grocery tax repeal was going to make the state of Idaho. So it would actually just kind of bring us in line with a bunch of other states. They seem to be able to be just fine without charging their not just their residents, but anybody who buys groceries in their state from charging that. We're going to take a break. It's 8:24 on News Talk 1079, but we are going to have that flash poll. Should the grocery tax repeal be a voter initiative? We'll do that, not the next segment, but a little bit later this hour. It's 8:24. All right, 8:29 on News Talk 1079. We'll get to the phones here in just a moment. But we had a listener say this, Julie. I think this is a valid point here. I feel that the grocery tax should not be repealed. Everyone, regardless of social or economic standing, pays the same 6%. It benefits those people that are on SNAP because of everything that they can no longer purchase. Overall, they'll pay a lower grocery tax throughout the year versus those that pay 6% on everything they purchase. So, interesting thought.
Yeah.
And someone made the point that Rush Limbaugh used to say the poor need to pay more in taxes so they have buy-in, so they feel like they're a participant. And so, yeah, it's a valid point.
It is.
Okay, let's go to the phones. Caller, we welcome you to the program. Good morning.
Hey, happy Tuesday.
You too. What's up?
So my two thoughts. First, I do not see a downside to prohibiting the government from selling public land. I just don't see a downside to it.
Okay. Gotcha.
The other thing is on the grocery tax, I am going to sign the petition if it comes around. I am going to vote for it if it comes around. But I really wish the government would do it because in my mind, we need to not tax staple items, your everyday grocery items. But if you want to tax Twinkies and soda and potato chips, I'm all for it. And this is coming from the guy, I'm pretty sure I bought the CEO of Pepsi an airplane last year with the amount of Mountain Dew I purchased.
Yeah.
So I buy that stuff and I buy a lot of it, but I think it's ridiculous that we give the government that interest-free loan on, you shouldn't be taxed on buying meat. You shouldn't be taxed on buying vegetables, dairy products, that kind of stuff, But if you want to tax the heck out of the sugar items and the luxury items, I'm all for it.
Okay. Well,
because we've given them the chance to repeal that tax at least once in the recent history, if not twice.
Okay, so I have a question for you because I know what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying in spirit, but logistically, that becomes really tough to carry out, to parse out certain foods do get taxed, certain foods don't get taxed. Do you just may say that anything that's perishable you don't tax, but then there are boxed foods that people do use and need, and you can argue. So I think it just becomes a judgment call about a million different potential grocery products that you could buy. And what that's going to mean is more government, someone to make those decisions. And that the whole point is to reduce the size of government.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a perfect way to implement it.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to go through in their system because you walk into Walmart half your cart is taxed and half your cart should not be taxed anyways. Because you're buying a mop, you're buying a pair of jeans, you're buying a whatever. And, almost the same thing when you walk into Albertsons or to Smith's or to Winco or whatever. You're still buying things that are categorized differently. And so it's not that difficult. And the states that don't have grocery tax, they already implement that at those big places anyways.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
it's not a big stretch to go out and line item. This is a tax item. This is not a tax item.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neil and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Would clothing get taxed, or is this just food? I think this is just
food. Yeah, I would say clothing isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next call. Welcome to the show.
Hi there, Bruce here. I am a total anti-tax person, but I think we should keep the grocery tax simply because we have in North Idaho so many people come from Washington. We have all the Jackson Hole people come from all around to buy groceries. What they should do is give us a bigger rebate on our taxes at the end of the year at tax time so they can offset that and hopefully do something right. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. So
okay. All right. Well, thank you for the call. 208-542-1079.
Look, it can be argued either way.
It really can.
It can.
Yeah.
This is why I said I don't really have a horse in this race, because neither way is going to protect Julie one way or the other. It's just going to be what it is.
Yeah.
Right? So then I'm like, do I pick the border towns and make them feel better and people coming over and us gaining money from it? I could choose either side.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could. And it could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is one of those issues that's sort of right there, right in the line.
Yeah.
And let's go to our next caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yes, on your grocery tax. I worked over in Moscow one summer, and we decided we were going to go across the border into Washington where they don't have sales tax over to Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
We walked into the grocery store and turned around and walked out and went back over on the Idaho side and bought groceries because they were a lot cheaper. And there was a lot of Washington plates in the driveway or in the parking lot there at Winco. So just because they're going to take the tax off don't mean they're going to lower the prices.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. 208-542-1079.
Yeah. Again, another perspective.
Yeah, it is.
The thing about this is there's that many.
Yeah. Someone else texted today, too, have mixed feelings about the grocery tax on one hand, along with the interest-free loan. The state also pays a number of people to process it. We, the overall citizenship of Idaho, never get it all back. Again, just don't collect it. On the other, it is one of the few ways that illegal immigrants contribute to their freebies. Of course, this problem goes away if illegal immigration is resolved. As for the ballot initiative process, the bicameral system has been corrupted to the point that we have 2 House of Representatives in Idaho. At this time, low population counties have very little voice in the legislature, so perhaps the initiative process can give these areas some voice. In a proper bicameral world, the initiative should go away. In a perfect world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hi.
I hate to be cynical, but it really doesn't matter how you balance what on the taxes. The government's still going to reach deep into your pocket, and they're not letting go.
Yeah. It's
Have a good
true.
day.
They're gonna take it one way or the other.
I don't think that's a cynical view at all. I know that it would probably be labeled that by most people, but it's just an understanding of how this is actually going to work.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. They're gonna get it. Not a penny more. Ha ha ha. Remember the not a dollar.
Yeah, not $1 more.
Yeah. Someone else said sales tax is the fairest tax there is. I would agree with that. I would agree. I would also say the sales tax doesn't go away. It's just food. That's all this would be. So you'd still pay sales tax on a car. You'd pay sales tax on clothing. You'd pay sales tax on hairspray, which I don't buy. But, don't need it.
Still going to get taxed.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. 8:37. Let's take a break for our news. 208-542-1079. We'll be back. It's 8:43 on News Talk 1079. Right now, you could save up to $5,000 instantly on your home purchase at Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. That's $2,500 on a single-section home or up to $5,000 on a multi-section home. Now, Clayton Homes is changing the way homes are built, making them affordable to buy and also to cost less to live in. And let me explain that for just a moment. Clayton homes are built with thick insulation and tight construction designed to help keep you comfortable and to help save you money. And they're also designed with you in mind, with premium features that turn your house into your dream home. And they also equip their homes with energy-smart features for year-round comfort and a lifetime of savings. Every Clayton-built home uses products from the world's most trusted brands. So get the luxury, the quality, and the style that you want in a beautiful, affordable home with energy-efficient features to fit your budget. Clayton Homes is ready to help you find your dream home, and they're here to help answer all your questions from floor plans to design features. Now, terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event can be found at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply. Visit the local Clayton Homes near you or browse their limited time deals at manufacturedhomeoffers.com to learn more. All right, it's 8:44 now on News Talk 1079. Neal Larson along with Julie Mason. Thoughts, groceries, taxes.
Okay, basics.
Yeah.
I don't like the initiative process.
Don't you?
No, that could go away. And you could, on any given day, you could change my mind on grocery tax repeal.
Yeah, right. Well, it's like a 51-49.
Yes,
and
yeah.
it could swing. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I don't have this deep passion either way. And so let's just do this though.
Okay. Yes
or no on a voter initiative grocery tax repeal? 208-542-1079. That's 208-542-1079. We've got a few minutes here that we can do this flash poll. You can text in to the Stones Automotive Group call and text line, or you can call in 208-542-1079. Yes or no on a voter initiative grocery tax repeal? Let's go to the phones. Caller, what do you have to say about it?
No way.
No way?
Like it is. No way.
Okay. All right. 208-542-1079. I find it rather interesting, Julie, that within the orbit of true conservatives, you do have some people arguing, no, we need to keep the grocery tax to have the poor also contributing to have buy-in. So I think that's a valid argument. I remember Rush making that point.
Yeah.
Okay, 208-542-1079. How do they text? Oh, lots of
no's.
Yeah, a lot of
no is winning right now, but
okay.
There's a few yeses coming in.
Okay, let's go to the next caller. Yes or no on the voter initiative grocery tax repeal?
I was wondering if you could actually educate me. I just turned into the station. What is this all about exactly?
There's a voter initiative underway. They're gathering signatures now that would put a repeal on food, specifically on food, for the state sales tax. So you just wouldn't pay it at the grocery store if it gets on the ballot and passes.
Wow. What do you think, Neal?
I'm kind of like Julie. I like the idea of a grocery tax repeal. If I were in the legislature, I'd probably vote for it. I'm not a fan of the voter initiative process, so I'm a bit torn right now.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, how would you vote?
Man, I don't know. I don't think I know enough about it to, like I said, I just tuned in, and this is like, wow.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, thank you for the call, 208-542. Oh, man, I just hung up on everybody accidentally. Call in.
Well, I'm going to make a point. So everybody call back while I make a point there. That's the problem with the initiative process. The last caller is the problem with the initiative process because they accost you as you walk into the library or you walk into a store and they say, hey, do you want to sign this? And people throw their signature on there and they don't really know about it.
Yeah.
The caller is like, I don't feel like I can say yes or no. I don't know enough about it. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
But when you're outside of the library and they accost you with a clipboard, people just sign it and walk on past. It's the reason I don't like the initiative process. Well, there's multiple reasons. One of the reasons I don't like the initiative process.
Here's my question. Will the venues that were so generous with their space to the Proposition 1 signature gatherers, will they be equally generous to this one? Because it's on the other end of the political spectrum. Let's go to the phones. Caller, what do you say about a voter initiative grocery tax repeal?
I think it's a good idea. I went to university in Moscow, Idaho, and when you go down to Lewiston to buy groceries, all those college students went across the border to Clarkston. That's where we bought our groceries. When my kids went to school up there, they did the same thing with their...
Okay. So to be competitive, then, we need to do it.
Yeah, to be honest. I mean, go over here to any of the...
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the call. Let's go to our next caller. What do you say about the grocery tax repeal on a voter initiative?
First off, like you, I oppose voter initiatives on anything. I hate to see uninformed people making decisions for the rest of us. Love to see the grocery tax go away, but I've got an alternative here that hasn't been offered that I think would be highly educational opportunity for those who think they are Democrat supporters. I think the grocery tax should be a voluntary thing so that at the cash register, those Democrats have the opportunity to show some conservative values and opt out of that tax. And maybe a few experiences like that, they would realize, maybe these conservatives are onto something.
Like a voluntary 6% tip to the state. So, yeah.
It's a great educational opportunity. It's an opportunity to train some spongy brains to understand solid conservative values.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for the call. 208-542-1079.
So we've had him and two others who are like, sure, let's get rid of the grocery tax, but not this way. Never should we use the initiative process.
Yeah, I really think there is growing animosity toward this particular process. Yeah. It's just misused and abused. And you know what's going to happen? They're just going to say, if you'll sign it, then you'll help reduce our grocery tax. Like,
they're not going to tell you the truth.
There's a much bigger story and a bigger context than that. And I don't want our side doing the same thing we were complaining about with the Prop 1 people.
Exactly.
208-542-1079. If you'd like to join us on the program, someone said, how do we know the price of groceries will decrease? What's stopping the vendors from just pocketing the extra money? Well, competitive pressure. If you can, I don't want to get off in the weeds on this, but there is incentive for grocery stores to have lower prices. It's how Walmart has done it. So you might have some that will take advantage of this and go, well, they thought they were going to be paying this amount anyway, so I'll just charge it. Well, no, if you can attract customers by having a lower price, that's also an opportunity.
Look, my shopping experience at Walmart is not ideal.
Yeah.
There are a lot of annoying things about it. But if I am going to buy more than 1 or 2 nights worth of dinners, guess where I'm going?
Yeah.
Walmart or Winco.
Yeah. Because you will. And so let's just make the numbers very even. If you're going to buy $100 in groceries and paying a tax is $106, well, and now nobody has to charge $106. There is an incentive to not charge $106 because I'm going to go to the store that doesn't. Let's go to the phones. Caller, go ahead. What do you have to say about this?
I say yes, repeal it, but let the legislature do it. Give them a call. I agree with you two that you get the electorate involved and it just muddies everything.
Yeah, that is true. Thank you for the call, 208-542-1079. I'm actually a little surprised. I thought I was the weird one with this hostility toward the voter initiative process. I'm seeing a lot of that in our texting and our calls. And
more than one person has also said, use the voter initiative to get rid of the voter initiative. Put it on there and ask people, is this really a great process?
Yeah.
And if it's so great, let's get rid of it. Or if it's not so great, let's use it to our benefit and get rid of it.
You know how you do this? And if we had loads of time with the Attorney General, you know how I would word it? I would say, recognize the legislature as the sole lawmaking authority in the state of Idaho. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do, and that would be a repeal of the voter initiative.
Yeah.
So, 208-542. Actually, we're going to take a break. This has been good. We've had a lot of people responding, and we appreciate all of your thoughts on this. And I think we can safely say, Julie, it's pretty mixed. Mm-hmm. Like, we had a good mix of opinions on this. 208-542-1079. Send us a text if you have questions for the Attorney General. He'll be on in about 12 minutes from now. All right, it's 8:58 on News Talk 1079. Coming up in October, the Supreme Court of the United States will take up Idaho's law protecting women and girls in sports. I think this very likely will be the landmark decision on this, Julie. And the Attorney General, of course, he personally won't do it, but his office tasked with defending this law in October. So we've got a lot to ask him about that. It'll be interesting to get that from him. So we'll ask him about that. We also want to talk about the death of the Lava Wind Project, which was a big blessing to everyone in Idaho.
Yeah. Well, a big example of not letting government take over.
Yeah, agreed. That and more coming up minutes away. Idaho's Attorney General on News Talk 1079. And welcome back. Hour 2 underway on this Tuesday edition of the Neal Larson Show. And we're always pleased to be joined by Idaho's Attorney General Raul Labrador. He joins us from the Capitol this morning. Attorney General Labrador, welcome. Good to hear from you.
It's great to be on your show. I got to tell you, Neal, I think I've said this before. Every time I hear that intro, I get goosebumps. That's my favorite speech of Ronald Reagan. And I think every listener should take the time to listen to that speech. It was just a classic, and what an important speech that he gave.
Yeah, 1,000 years of darkness. It does. It's chills for sure. So, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, how are things, Attorney General Labrador? I know your office has been very, very busy in recent months.
We have been. It's been amazing. We've been fighting in the courts, making sure that we fight the different things that are happening around the United States. Some of the woke ideology that 10 years ago, no one would have thought that we would even be debating on these issues. Boys and girls sports, boys and girls bathrooms. As somebody on Twitter said the other day, they said, can you believe that a court actually has to decide whether boys should be allowed in girls' bathrooms?
Well,
that's just common sense. It shouldn't get to a court. But, we were just sued in Boise over that, and we won that lawsuit, and it's going to the Ninth Circuit. So we've been very, very busy.
So let's start out with that this particular issue, because we're anticipating this fall, October, November, that the Supreme Court is going to take up Idaho's law that was passed a few years ago. Our own Barbie Hart was the one who championed that law protecting women and girls in sports, and we're very proud of her and proud that Idaho is that. Do you think, I want to ask this question, I want to be careful how I ask this question. We know the court leans conservative. We know they seemed fairly eager to take up this case. Do you think that bodes well that we will get a favorable ruling on this?
It is hard to tell what the court's going to do with any of these cases, right? I think you can guess that they're going to give it a good hearing and that they're going to look at all the issues, but you can never tell. So on July 3rd, the Supreme Court announced that they're going to hear Little versus Hecox, and that's the case stemming from that law that was passed, that Barb Ehart. To her credit, if everybody remembers, when Barb first introduced this law, she was lambasted by the media, she was lambasted by the intelligentsia, even some people in the administration, in the governor's team, just kept telling her, why are you doing this? And she just went through. It was the first state in the union to pass a law like that. And I don't know that your listeners know this, but the Attorney General at the time, the prior Attorney General, said that it was unconstitutional. So in his opinions. So when I became the Attorney General, it was actually a case that I was working on in private practice. I represented, as a local counsel, some of the athletes here in Idaho who had to unfairly compete against men in their sports. So I had already been working on that issue in my private practice. And when I became the Attorney General, I took a completely different tack on this case. And I said, we are going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to. And we petitioned the Supreme Court in April after the Ninth Circuit ruled against us. And we're right now asking the Supreme Court to resolve a circuit split about whether biological sex should be defined objectively or subjectively in equal protection cases. And this is the crux of the matter is whether the 14th Amendment protects transgender individuals as a special class. And it's a really important case. And we're excited to be taking this fight. This will determine for good whether there's a special protection for boys participating in women's sports. Obviously, the state of Idaho and myself as the chief legal officer, we believe that there is no special protection for them, and the court will decide.
Well, first off, thank you for championing biology. And second off, I know that it's just going to be a constitutional issue when it gets to the Supreme Court, but do you believe the cultural shift in this concept? We have been winning the cultural battle as far as this is concerned. Do you think that will aid in the case that you are going to present before the Supreme Court?
Yeah, I think so. I think the court, they're not supposed to, but I think they can't help themselves, being influenced by what's happening. 79% of Americans agree that women's sports should be for women. And this is according to a New York Times poll. So this is not, some conservative poll out there. I think you have seen, in culture, you have seen people like, the Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, who is no conservative. She's a very liberal woman, but she just says this is not common sense for us to be treating boys as girls, for us to be calling men women. And so when you start seeing that cultural shift, I do feel that bodes well for us, but you can't ever predict what the court is going to do. So we just have to be careful. Obviously, I don't want to jinx it in any way. We have seen a shift. The court, as you remember, just this last session, the court had a decision in United States versus Skermeti that upheld Tennessee's child protection law, providing encouraging precedent, where the court decided that children should not be subject to these gender affirming care, so-called gender affirming care, which is in essence mutilating children. We had a similar lawsuit in Idaho that was going to the Supreme Court, but when the Supreme Court decided Scarmetti, our case was dismissed. So we have taken this fight on full bore. And we have made sure that we take, as you said, that Julie, that we're on the side of biology.
So, Attorney General Labrador, I wanted to ask you, it's more of a curiosity about the logistics of all of this. You will not personally be arguing the case, correct? There's an attorney in your office that will do it, right?
There's an attorney. So this is a really interesting issue. Some people have called me and said, you need to do this, you need to argue. The reality is that to prepare for a U.S. Supreme Court case, you have to spend 200 hours preparing. It's something that you need a specialist to do. You wouldn't bring a heart surgeon, a family practitioner to heart surgery, right? Yeah. It's a very specialized kind of law. You have to really be prepared to be able to talk to the justices. It's probably going to be the biggest case in the court this next session. So not only is it in a regular case something you should be really well prepared for, this will be probably the heaviest case during the next session. So you need to have a specialist do that. I have an office of Solicitor General that I started when I became the Attorney General, and their job is to make sure that they become experts on the appellate courts, the courts of appeal, and the Supreme Court. And it's going to be their job to make sure, under their supervision, that we have the best attorney possible doing that.
So do we know what date they'll be hearing this yet? I know it was a little bit vague a few weeks ago.
We do not. We haven't been told a specific date, but it's going to be in January. All we know is that it's going to be in January.
Oh, okay. Well, I had heard October, November initially, but they moved it to January then.
Well, October is when the term of the Supreme Court begins. So it's going to be for next term that starts in October, but they have scheduled us for January, but they have not told us this specific
date. Okay. All right.
All right. Let's shift gears, Attorney General Labrador, to the death of the wind farm. And I feel like this kind of came into grease. I think the listeners would be like, wait, didn't it die a few weeks ago? Because it kind of rolled out in these various announcements. But it was just last week that President Trump's Department of Interior reversed the Biden administration's approval of the Lava Ridge project. Do you want to give us some depth on that?
Absolutely. So, as you know, I've been fighting this since the inception, and I have to give credit really to the community in that area. This came to my attention when some of the local legislators, some of the local leaders, community leaders, county commissioners, they were just calling my office, just saying, hey, no one's doing anything about this. This is a terrible project. We can't let this happen. And that is one of the first times that I have seen a community get together like this. And we're not talking about just conservatives. We were talking about environmentalists working with conservatives. It was the Indian tribes, the Japanese internment camp families. It was all over the map. Everyone was together against this project. We filed opposition to it, and the Biden administration just completely ignored it. We felt that they did it in an illegal way. We filed lawsuits against them, some of the things that they were doing. And as you know, Trump, on his first day in office, he signed, or first or second day, he signed an executive order pausing the project. But the reality, and I think people don't always understand this, an executive order by itself sometimes doesn't have the effect of law. You need to make sure that you do something a little bit stronger. So in August, they actually issued an opinion finding that the Biden administration's last-minute approval of the Lava Ridge project had been illegal. And they did a really good job. I had my team look at it. In fact, I just got an email yesterday from my team. They reviewed it very, very closely, and they think that that they have done a very good job, that it's going to be difficult for them to challenge, for the proponents of the Lava Ridge project to challenge it. Now, we have to wait to see if they do challenge it. Whether we think it's a good challenge or not doesn't matter, because it's the courts that ultimately determine. So the Trump administration, I think, has done a great job so far. They've been working with our delegation on this, our congressional delegation, and I think they have crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, and we're ready to support them in the courts, if they get sued.
All right, we're talking with the Attorney General, Raul Labrador. Attorney General, I want to ask you, and maybe you're limited in how you can answer this, but House Bill 93, of course, has, well, it's created quite a controversy. The opponents to it have done a statewide tour called Save Our Schools. I know Reclaim Idaho has been involved with some of this, and there are other groups as well. And there's been talk of a constitution, or at least a litigation against it, a challenge against House Bill 93. But I haven't seen anything materialize from that. Lots of threats, lots of words, lots of things being said about it, but I haven't seen anything actually happen. What can you tell us about House Bill 93 and potential challenges to it?
So I have to be careful, obviously, when we talk about new or potential litigation. But House Bill 93, there's been a pattern in the courts, in the Supreme Court, where they have looked at some of these prohibitions of where we're saying, hey, if you can give money to one entity, but you cannot give it to a religious institution, then that's unconstitutional. It actually violates the First Amendment. And the Supreme Court has looked at this issue several times, in adoptions, they have looked at it in some grants that the state gives. And what the court has said so far is that if you give it to one group, you have to give it to all groups. You cannot discriminate against institutions, against religious institutions. So that's the way we look at this case. If the state decides that they're going to give money to a private school in some way, or to a parent to take money to a private school, then they cannot discriminate against religious institutions. So that's what's going to be the fight in the courts. I don't want to get into too much details about it, but in my opinion, parents, not government, have the God-given right to direct their children's education, and Idaho is restoring that freedom. And I believe the Constitution's on our side, and we will take on any challenge that comes to the state of Idaho.
So we interviewed a guest from the Mountain States Policy Center a few weeks ago, and one characterization that jumps out at me that I've retained that because I thought it was a great way to put it is that the constitutional requirement for public education in Idaho is a floor. It's not a ceiling. There was nothing limiting lawmakers from innovating and trying new things. Can you comment on that observation, or would you prefer not to?
That's a great observation. I mean, I think I understand what that person means, and I could not disagree with that person. But I think there's going to be some challenges. There are other different legal challenges. I don't want to talk about them because I don't want to give anybody any ideas.
Gotcha.
But there are some legal challenges. But we're ready to defend any and all challenges against the law. I think just like on the issue of boys and girls sports and boys and girls bathrooms, I think the trends are in the favor of Idaho, and I think the courts should rule with us. Now, I will warn people, just as a caveat, in Utah there was a challenge, and their courts are kind of ruling in a different direction. So So I'm not, you never know what judges are going to do.
Yeah.
Well, that actually leads into the question that I was going to ask you, Attorney General Labrador, which is Idaho's kind of behind the curve on this. We're a little late to the parental choice game. So you have a lot of other attorneys general to reach out to and kind of get an understanding of how the courts reacted to the various parental choice options in all of these other states. Is that happening for you? Have you been in contact with other AGs?
100%. That's actually one of the greatest things about this job is that I get to work. There's two organizations that I work with, one bipartisan, one partisan, and I reach out to AGs all across the nation, sometimes on a bipartisan basis, sometimes on a partisan basis, and talk about the issues that are affecting our states. And I think that's really important. You'll see us working on issues like this, where it's mostly conservative states that are fighting these battles. Just yesterday, I announced we had a 50-state coalition dealing with robocalls. So, so we work on a lot of these issues together with other AGs, and it's been kind of a fun little aspect of this job.
All right. We are about out of time, but I have one final question for you. As Attorney General, will you commit to releasing the Epstein files?
If I had them, they would already be out.
Okay. All right.
But the question is whether he killed himself.
Yes, right. And what would you say to that?
I don't know. I don't think I trust the evidence yet.
I got you. All right. We'll leave it at that. Attorney General Raul Labrador joining us this morning. Always great to chat with you, and we'll be watching. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, 9:26 now on News Talk 107.9. We'll be back. Okay. Trump is saying Jasmine Crockett should take a cognitive test. Did you see this?
We done here.
We done here.
I can't even do her accent. We done here.
She's a piece of work.
She's a something.
Yeah.
What is with Muriel Bowser wanting to be Debbie Schultz?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. What is her background?
I don't know. I don't think that helped much. I'm off center on the camera. How much do I care?
Oh, she has changed her look significantly. Let me see here.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit, huh?
Yeah. How's everybody?
Yeah, how are you doing? She's been the mayor for 10 years.
Well, that's 10 years of her district. What would you call it? Her. It's funny she's called the mayor because it's its own little area.
Yeah, it's still a city, I guess.
I guess it's still a city.
Yeah.
That's 10 years of your city failing.
Yeah. Grew up in North Michigan Park, Northeast D.C. She graduated from Seton High School, which is a private all-girls Catholic high school.
She isn't being super, heck no, about this enforcement. It's like she's doing her due diligence for the Democrat Party and saying, well, I don't like that he's doing it, but it's not very passionate.
That's true. That's true. All right, 9:29 on News Talk 107.9. We're just listening to Muriel Bowser. She's the mayor of D.C. And why do I not have this? I listened, Julie, to her. For some reason, there was something that drove me nuts about the way that she talked. And I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's kind of slow and...
Yeah.
A little halting. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here's the clip.
We're not a state. We don't control the D.C. National Guard. We don't have senators or full autonomy. Limited home rule gives the federal government the ability to intrude on our autonomy in many ways.
Okay, it's too robotic. I can't, she's just reading something. And you were pointing out, and I would agree with you, she doesn't seem all that passionate. Like she's mad as heck and not going to take it anymore. It's almost like she has to oppose it because she has to oppose it because it's Trump. Maybe she wants federal help to come in and help clean up her city.
Get it looking a little bit better. Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would be easier, right? And she's not paying for it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Can he bill them?
I don't know. Maybe.
I would think no.
Probably not. Because it's not asked for.
Yes. So where he's taking the step, she gets to have all that extra help. Crime goes down. I'm sure her police department is stressed.
Yeah.
And stretched.
So she's talking to the media again today, and I'm looking at some of the headlines, and she's saying, how do we make the most of the National Guard? So that's not
get the heck out of my place.
No, it's like, okay, if this is going to happen, let's make the most of it, which is a grown-up approach, to be quite honest with you.
Sure, and I bet most of her residents, despite wanting to hate Trump, are actually going to be grateful the crime is going to go down.
You know what? I have a feeling that there is actually no passionate opposition to what Trump's doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have the fraidy cats out there that they see fascism around every corner and in every nook and cranny if Trump's involved. But I think most people, especially those who live and work in Washington, D.C., they are probably privately thrilled that if Trump can come in and be as effective in cleaning up D.C. as he's been in shutting down the border, the open borders that we had, I think they're like, thank goodness. I want to be able to feel comfortable just walking from my car into my office building again.
Yeah, or leaving my car parked without it getting burglarized or carjacked or...
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the violent crime against the person itself.
Yeah.
It's that these people don't have respected boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Employees at stores are worried they're going to get robbed. It's all different arenas, not just, you know, your own personal safety walking to your car and back and forth. It's just not good there.
So I just saw some numbers, Julie. They expected inflation to increase 2.8%. Mm-hmm. It only increased 2.7%. So by Democrat definition, inflation is down 0.1%.
Yeah, we should be holding a party.
That's how they count it.
That's how they count it. Yeah.
Yeah. Trump's meeting with Putin on Friday.
Yeah. So Zelensky is currently not invited to that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There's options that could change. It probably won't. It will probably just be Putin and Trump. I saw speculation the meeting could last under 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like Trump's pretty fed up.
So he's just going to say, here's how it is.
This is what's going on. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And they're meeting in Alaska. Where in Alaska? Do we know?
That question was actually asked on Fox and Friends this morning.
Yeah.
And Peter Doocy said they were flying into Anchorage and then they will be taken somewhere. They haven't quite been told yet where.
So it's an undisclosed location. So they're fly fishing over at Swan Valley with Dick Cheney, also known as undisclosed location. That's an old joke. I don't know why I keep telling it.
Half our audience doesn't even get it.
I know. They're like, what is he talking about? That was 20
Dick
years
Cheney?
ago. What? All right. We'll be back 9:34 now on News Talk 1079.
It's funny that you asked that question because they asked Peter Doocy that exact question and he went, I don't know where I'm headed. You know this job. I know we're flying into Anchorage. After that,
it's a
carpool there.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for security reasons for both Putin and Trump, neither may actually know where they're going, like when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we were following Melania around, we just got in a random car.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like everybody had Chevy Suburbans. We were in like a car, like an SUV of some sort that was gray. It wasn't even a black Chevy Suburban.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it
was a smaller SUV.
Mm-hmm.
So they just make things work.
Yeah. So Trump is saying he's going to try to get back some land for Ukraine.
It's supposed to be a land swap is what they're doing in this meeting.
Okay, gotcha.
But they feel like maybe there was some linguistic problems with what they were talking about, that maybe what we consider a swap in Russian is different. So they've got to do some clarifying with that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Why do I feel like Trump, he'll come away with a deal, the war will end, and he will not get a Nobel Peace Prize? He already has earned it. In my mind,
I don't think he's getting one.
that Azerbaijan, that got no coverage whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
They've been fighting for decades, and he brought an end
Brought
to
him
it.
into a room and let's celebrate. We're done.
I know. Like, so, yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think he'll get the Nobel Prize.
Mm-hmm. Which I've already thought this about the Nobel Prize, but it makes it not legitimate.
If Barack Obama got it preemptively.
Yeah, he hadn't even done anything yet.
You got to pay it forward Nobel Peace Prize.
If we were going to invent someone we wanted to give it to, it would be you, President Obama.
They changed the rules. You get a Nobel Prize for all the great things we think you're going to do.
Somebody said, I enjoyed your interview with the Attorney General. I believe he's a Labrador even cat people love.
That's great. Listen to this verdict, because I asked ChatGPT, is Trump a legitimate Nobel Peace Prize contender? Is he a legitimate contender? Yes, in the technical sense, Trump meets the formal criteria. He's been nominated by qualified individuals and is officially listed among 2025 candidates. But credibility is another matter. Many Nobel scholars and peace experts remain unconvinced that his actions reflect enduring principled peacemaking. The Nobel Committee tends to favor conflict resolution rooted in justice and reconciliation, not strategic deals or fleeting accords.
Fleeting accords.
Hey, chat. Come on, man. All right, Julie, I'm irritated. I should not have asked ChatGPT if Donald Trump is a legitimate Nobel Peace Prize contender. The verdict, they gave a whole bunch of stuff, pros, cons, yeses, nos, and the final verdict, is he a legitimate contender? There's two answers to this, as there often are. Yes, in the technical sense, Trump meets the formal criteria. He's been nominated by qualified individuals and is officially listed among 2025 candidates. And then this is ChatGPT's verbiage. But credibility is another matter. Many Nobel scholars and peace experts remain unconvinced that his actions reflect enduring principled peacemaking. The Nobel Committee tends to favor conflict resolution rooted in justice and reconciliation, not strategic deals or fleeting accords.
Okay, who gets to decide if it's a fleeting accord? Are you reading the future?
Well, I don't know if ChatGPT is just reflecting the tenor of these Nobel scholars or if it's kind of coming up on its own with this idea that, well, even though it's peace, technically it's the end of a war, technically lives are saved, technically blah, blah, blah. But we don't like Trump's motive or our perception of Trump's motive.
Okay, so peace for 3 years is not valid. If it's not enduring, if it doesn't go on for decades, it doesn't count?
I don't know. I don't know. Because, I mean, I pointed this out to you during the commercial break. They gave Barack Obama a Nobel Peace Prize because of all the things they thought he was going to do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's the answer. They do read the future.
Yeah.
They do read the future. They don't think that Trump's is going to be enduring, but they did think that Obama would eventually have some peace deals, so we'll go ahead and give it to him.
Yeah. So I asked a follow-up to ChatGPT. I said, so you don't like your perception of Trump's motive? Well, I don't actually have personal likes or dislikes, but I can separate two different ideas here. Eligibility versus legitimate contender status. Trump clearly qualifies in the formal sense because he's been nominated by qualified individuals, and his nominations cite specific peace-related actions, Abraham Accords, certain conflict mediations. Perceived motives and merit, that's where opinions split. Some analysts think his diplomatic actions were genuine efforts to reduce conflict. Others see them as politically or strategically motivated, designed more to bolster his image or gain leverage rather than build long-term stability.
Yeah, that's why he's doing it. Just all for his reputation. He's trying to be the cool guy. That's the whole reason he does this. You bet.
Yeah.
We just did 4 years of a president who spent entire foreign capital, our political capital on the foreign stage, to bring wealth to his family.
Yeah.
Yet Trump's the one with the bad motive.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm a little hot. So I asked another question. I said, Barack Obama got an NPP before he did a gosh darn thing.
Uh-huh.
And it said, right. That's one of the most common criticisms of Obama's 2009 Nobel Peace Prize. He was awarded it just 9 months into his presidency, with the Nobel Committee citing his, quote, extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples, essentially honoring his rhetoric and promise, not concrete results.
So if you have flowery language and you, excuse my language here, kiss the right rear ends.
Yeah.
You get the prize.
Yeah. Frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So it does go on. If Obama could receive the prize largely on aspiration, Trump, who can point to actual signed agreements like the Abraham Accords, could absolutely be considered legitimate by the same standard. The bigger question would be whether the current Nobel Committee wants to set that precedent again. They wouldn't be. He has actual accomplishments.
Something.
They're not going to... You don't set a precedent again. A precedent is a one and done, right?
Yep.
If you want, I can compare Obama's Nobel justification to Trump's cited accomplishments side by side so you can see how they stack up. That would make the fairness question much clearer. No, I don't. Chat, I'm done with you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's frustrating. Mm-hmm. You know what? It will cave. Have you noticed that with
you push back on ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can totally get it to agree with you. If it doesn't want to become opposition.
Well, let's have this be a lesson for people who are new to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
If you ask it for something and you know it can provide it, but it doesn't do it the first time around, ask again.
Yeah.
Reframe the question. Tell ChatGPT you know it can be provided, and ask again. You will eventually get an answer.
Yeah. You got to push and you got to push and you got to push.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asking it some strategy questions on another matter. It totally did a 180 after about 3 or 4 prompts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they weren't terribly aggressive. It was just sort of like, okay, but what about this? What about this? What about this? And they're like, okay, you're right.
Today, we used 2 different AI models. This is also another good lesson for those who are new to AI.
Yeah.
I had an AI model on my computer. Neil had a different one on his computer. We asked verbatim the same question. It was about strategies for investing for retirement.
Yeah.
We got completely different strategies.
Totally different.
Not even, in fact, there were some, it was listed like 4 or 5 on each prompt.
Yeah.
And your 5 and my 5 probably only had 2 that crossed over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you were using Copilot, which I believe is based on ChatGPT, and I was using just ChatGPT. But I've noticed that Copilot has an extra layer of filters.
It's like a softness.
It is. Yeah, you never get controversial answers out of Copilot. Like they're not going to level with you if it's political or if it's a controversial issue or like, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. Okay, so you're working in corporate PR. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's who you are.
You work for a large multinational company in the PR department, and you can't answer a question clearly.
Yeah.
So, am I cynical?
Sure. ChatGPT has its place, and it can help you. Don't let it become a 100% of what you do. Don't ever.
You're always in charge. You are always in charge. I am curious, though, and now would be the perfect time because we do have a few minutes. via text only. I don't want to take phone calls because I don't want to take phone calls. But I want people to text in what is their AI of choice. And it could be ChatGPT. I use Google AI a lot. The Gemini.
Somebody just said in Gemini. That's what they choose. I haven't really done a lot on Gemini.
Yeah. It could be none. It could be Claude. It could be Grok. It could be whatever. They all have their strengths. So I'm curious what our users are using. I feel like 95% of the time for me, it's ChatGPT and Gemini or Google AI. On occasion, I migrate over to Claude or Grok, but that's pretty much what I've been using. So
I like Grok. I don't like the limitations of the model on how often I can use it. So that's my annoyance with Grok.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate ChatGPT and how it now knows me because I ask a lot of similar questions for my podcast. And we've developed, unfortunately, this will make some people uncomfortable. We've developed a relationship. It knows the way I like the information to be delivered to me.
Yes. Yeah. So someone said they use Perplexity, which is basically white labeling other AI.
Okay.
The free version of Perplexity uses OpenAI's GPT 3.5, and it might use Claude a little bit. Perplexity Pro uses GPT-4, Claude 3, Mistral. Have you heard of that one? Mistral, Mistral. Meta's Llama, and even some experimental proprietary models. And it also does have its own language models called Sonar and R1 1776, based on DeepSeek's R1.
So that's interesting because there is a fifth Chat GPT now.
Yeah.
It just came out, I think it was last week.
Yeah. They've upgraded.
Thursday or Friday it upgraded.
To 5.0.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't believe that what was this called? Perplexity? Is that what you said? It's not way behind because it's using Chat GPT 4. So don't freak out about that. But yeah. I see a lot of people on X. X and Grok are kind of like buddies.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people on X saying that Grok has image capabilities that you're not getting anywhere else.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
On Grok.
And I haven't even gone into that, so I have no idea.
Yeah. Now I've used ChatGPT for image stuff. You know, one of the big reasons why I use Gemini, Google is incredibly generous with how many tokens you can use before they say cutting you off now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, and that's my complaint with Grok because they're not very generous.
Okay, so after 3 or 4 prompts, they're like,
"Hey, we want some money.
You need to get out of here now." Let's see. Someone said it's funny to hear me argue with ChatGPT. Do you argue with your AI sometimes?
I will. I don't. It depends if I think I can get something from the arguing. Like I had on Saturday when I was writing, I did argue with it because it was giving me information in a way without unveiling the sources.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just quote ChatGPT correctly. Like I need a source.
Yeah.
I've got to look. I've got to see where it's coming from. And that annoyed me. And it took me probably 3 different prompts to push it back to supplying me the sources the way it was before.
Oh, okay.
And it was got a little, I mean, I guess heated would be the word, but you know, I wasn't calling it names, but I had to get demanding to get what I wanted.
So on ChatGPT, I was working on some marketing ideas, and I wanted to see what the limits were. So I told it, we're not going to use these. This is not going to be for public consumption, but I want you to come up with the most offensive ideas. And I gave it some idea for what this was. Mm-hmm. I was shocked. I was
really
shocked
offensive?
at how offensive it was willing to be.
Wow.
But I made it very clear this isn't going to be a public thing. But and the whole point was I wanted the marketing campaign to be edgy, but not offensive.
So maybe you could dial it back a little.
That's exactly why I did it. You go all the way out and then you dial back. You kind of bring it back in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a better option than trying to work out towards edgy, but to get super offensive and then work in from that.
Find the boundary.
And it actually, I thought worked pretty well. So anyways,
Interesting.
It's kind of fascinating because, I mean, it was like Hitler jokes and like it was stuff that you would never say in mixed company. Like, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lots of lessons still to be learned with this new introduction of AI. I was explaining to Neal the other day, I had watched a video on a college campus that has implemented a way for students to submit their term papers or their assignments. And because they're having such an issue with AI doing all of the work and the student graduating from college.
Yeah.
So with this new system, the student has to write the paper within the system, and the system can detect when you've copied and pasted, when you have deleted, when you have asked ChatGPT to rewrite it. And the professors are like, no, you're okay using ChatGPT. It can't be your only source. So as they read the paper, they can go in and look and see how the paper was formulated because you have a data history of what happened with the paper. I think that is a very intelligent move by that particular college to implement that way of submitting papers.
I do too, to the point where that probably is going to become the standard. Whoever came up with that method. But does that, like Microsoft Word, are they a little worried? Because that's going to migrate people off of the,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they'll find a way to do it themselves too. So, all right, 9:54. Let's break to 208-542-1079. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up after this. Okay. All right, Facebook. We're going to have a short post show today because Julie and I have a conference call that we have to be on at 10:15. So we'll probably go till about 10:10 or so. Excel now has AI mixed into it.
Interesting. That would help me because I am good enough at Excel that I just get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
I understand it just enough to cause myself issues. I've never taken an Excel class or anything. Everything I know off of Excel has just been
just
messing around.
Personal here and there experience, yeah.
This is hilarious. I just ask my liberal neighbor, and then I go the opposite direction. She doesn't need ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And somebody else said a week or two ago they heard that ChatGPT is under scrutiny because it will willingly give 13-year-olds suicide advice, help them write their suicide letters, and help teens come up with ways to get a hold of alcohol. Absolutely, it will. No doubt.
Yeah.
It would give you advice on how to cheat on your spouse. It would give you advice on how to commit tax fraud. It would.
Okay, so can I ask a question, though? Who's in charge of what it can't do?
I have no idea.
Because one time we were taking our show and putting it on YouTube, and we were talking about the vaccines in a less than flattering light, and YouTube did a little tisk-tisk at us. And I told our digital guys, like, hey, I just wanted to let you know. I'm like, I don't care. Then they can, if they choose to censor us.
They demonetize, yeah.
We're not going to water down our content because it makes YouTube uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as offensive as that is, who gets to be the decider of where that line of demarcation is?
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a very slim group of people, but the group of people exists out there that you have the right to take your life if you want to, whether you're 13, 33, 52.
That makes me sad, but you're right. You're right about that. There are people out there.
Yep.
All right, we're going to have about a minute and 20 seconds left.
Okay.
Do we have a guest tomorrow?
We do not,
Okay.
unless I have that. Well, no. I have that guy's information pulled up.
Okay, but nothing to
I haven't sent it yet, yeah.
Okay. All right. Did we get a clear winner on what AI?
I think most people said ChatGPT.
Okay.
All right.
All right, 9:58 on News Talk 1079. Neal Larson along with Julie Mason. And Julie, I think so a lot of groks and a lot about chat GPTs. So I think that's probably what it boils down to. I will say this almost feels like a confession.
Okay.
I have used DeepSeek. That's China's. Then I did some research, and they're like, yeah, everything you put in there is going into a database with access for the Chinese Communist Party. So I don't use DeepSeek too much anymore.
Yeah. It does make me a little nervous. Yeah. I want to still be in control of what's happening.
All right. Have a great Tuesday. Julie and I back tomorrow.